in Arlington. Yep, he hooked us up. I was in the bowling proprietor business at the time, and we needed to shoot some television spots, and you were nice enough to, or Britt was nice enough to hook us up with you. And actually, you may not remember this, but I do. We did award-winning spots.
We did.
Yeah.
And you're still actually on the promo for the Think CQ.
Am I really?
Wow.
Well, that's great. That's in perpetuity. I'm sure my royalties have run out by now.
They have. Now tell us what you're up to today. What are you're networking?
Sure.
Promoting?
Yep. Well, I'm still here, still live here in Fort Worth. I've been in Tarrant County my entire life. But I do a lot of stuff. The biggest thing that I do these days, there is a chain of putt-putt golf courses here in the area. One in Hurst, one in Arlington, one in Fort Worth, and a place in Arlington called Alley Cats. And so I work for the family that owns those as their director of sales and marketing. So I do a variety of things with that, but networking is a big part of that. I go to all the Chamber of Commerce events, very active with the Convention Visitors Bureau, particularly in Arlington, bring the press in for media tours, whatever it takes. So networking is a big part of what I do.
Talk about networking, because I go to a lot of networking, you go to a
Sure.
lot of networking. It seems like networking is a real challenge for a lot of people.
It is a challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people are shy, present company excluded, but in all seriousness, it's the number one fear in the world, actually, is public speaking. And that doesn't mean just getting up on a stage and talking. It means walking into a room full of strangers and not knowing where to start. And when you're networking, you're oftentimes walking into a room full of strangers, and it's important to know where to start.
People will walk into a room and sit with someone they don't like before they'll sit with someone they don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because at least they have the connection of not liking that person. They already know why they don't like that person, versus if there's strangers in the room, they don't know why they don't like them. So they're comfortable, you're exactly right, sitting with someone they know that they don't like. I like that. I'm going to use that one.
So Facebook is more casual.
Sure.
More friendly. People aren't going to want to really drill down a lot, but let's talk a little bit about just some things that people can do when they do network, because we're all called on to go to luncheons,
Right.
go to networking events.
Yeah.
What are some things that people can do to become better networkers,
Okay.
rather than walking into a room and saying, introducing themselves, and we talked about it earlier,
Yeah.
and the first question is always, they look at the name tag, they make eye contact, and the first question is always,
What do you do?
and it's almost, and it's not really done with, it's not even with that much enthusiasm. It's almost kind of like, take out the trash. It's kind of almost like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Right.
Almost like, and there's so many different, so let's talk about some other things that you can say other than, what do you do?
Sure. I think it's important to, from the get-go, you need to start establishing a relationship with that person. It's the first time you've met them. And so you need to make yourself appear likable. Maybe if you're not likable, at least fake it till you make it. Come across as likable. So instead of so what do you do, say, even if it's a simple, have you been to these things before? To kind of show interest. Maybe if they have, they can guide you through it, and maybe if they haven't, you can learn together. So maybe it's simply, have you been to one of these before? Or did I meet you at the last one? Or even something totally off course to, what's the best thing to happen to you today? Because it's going to catch them off guard a little bit, and they're going to say, this person's kind of interesting. I want to get to know them. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a direct work-related or event-related question. So a simple, what's the coolest thing that happened to you this week would be kind of neat.
Yeah, I like what excites you.
What excites you is good. Yeah.
I think that's a good one. Now, let's talk about my other favorite one is
Okay.
not throwing up on people. Because I meet people and they want to tell me, I say, tell me about your business. But when I say that, I'm really wanting them to tell me when we get to that, maybe a little bit about their business. And I feel like that they want to.
They throw up on you. They regurgitate. They want to be a think tank. And a lot of times, if you're not comfortable talking around people, you have your whole everything you want to talk about, and here's your chance. You got to dump it. You got to have a data dump right there the first time you meet them. That's not good, But I too, I'm the same way. I'll meet somebody, and they'll immediately start telling me every job they've ever had in their life, or here's everything our company can do for you. You need to know that we can do X, Y, Z, and ABC, and 1, 2, 3 over and over and over. And they don't even know what I do. They don't even know what needs they may be able to help me fulfill. They very well may have something that I need, but if they're just throwing everything at me, I'm out of there. I'm on to the next person because I'm uncomfortable.
Great. So that leads us to our next talking point: listening with the intent of listening and not with responding.
Oh, it's very hard. It's hard, even for people like you and I that are very comfortable around people. It's often hard not to interject. Sometimes we do it because we can tell the person's uncomfortable and we have a moment, a pregnant pause, if you will, and we want to jump in and try. We feel like we're helping them out. But other times it's just because here's how it comes across. If someone's talking to you and you interrupt and start talking, it comes across like, well, you're not interested in here. You need to hear me because I'm really interesting. So the old adage about how you have two ears and one mouth is something you need to remember, because listening is twice as important as talking.
Great. Now, the other thing I think that's real important is a lot of times we don't think, when we meet someone, we don't assume we could use their services, but we need to realize that everyone we meet potentially could connect us with someone that could help us.
It's networking is all about connections. You know, you and I, as old timers, if you will. But
Whoa.
I don't know who the audience is, but
it's
let's
Facebook. It's 2
It is.
billion people.
So yeah, so to some of them, we are old timers, but because of that, we've learned a lot, and people can learn from our mistakes. And we just got to remember the fact that we know a lot of people, especially you and I both have been here in Tarrant County for virtually our entire lives. And so it's almost like a Kevin Bacon effect. For you old timers, you'll get that. But we know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. We can get an answer for people. But that's where the connectivity of networking comes in handy. You're talking about something immediately, I think, wait a minute, I know somebody that can do that. And if they happen to be at that same event, Chris, wait, I hear what you're saying. Hey, come over here, you need to meet this guy. And you pass them off, and you just did them both a service. And then they're going to log that away, and they're going to remember when they're at a networking event, this one or another one, and they're going to say, hang on a sec, I met this guy named Chris last time. He's got exactly what I've got a contact info right here in my phone. So it's all about selling yourself. The first rule of sales, you got to be able to sell yourself before you can sell your product. And so if you're able to sell yourself and develop a genuine respect and what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here, Chris. If you can develop a relationship with that person, they're going to want to help you as much as you're going to want to help them. So going back to your original statement, yes, immediately you may not be able to help them with what they have to offer. You don't have a connection in that you really can't do business together, but you know somebody that could use their services. They're going to remember that, and they may find somebody that can use your services too.
Okay, so great advice. How can I become more comfortable networking?
Well, quite simply, have a plan. When you have to go to, let's say it's a Chamber of Commerce business after hours event, why are you going? If you're going just because the boss said you need to go, that's not a good plan. But if you're going and you have your plan of, I want to meet 20 new people that I've never met before. I want to find someone in a particular industry because I know that at my job, we really need some help doing X. So I need to make sure when I'm working this room tonight, if I can find somebody that can help me out with X. Have a plan when you walk in. Don't just walk in and that'll make you more comfortable because you're a little more focused and you know going in. Because a great segue for developing a conversation at a networking event is, how can I help you? What can I do for you? People love to talk about themselves, and then be quiet and listen.
But for a lot of people, it's hard for them to walk into a networking event.
Yes, it is.
So what steps can they take to take that first step?
The first step then, it would be, it's almost like in prison. You walk up to the biggest person in prison on day one, you hit them in the nose just to make a name for yourself. I'm not saying you hit anybody at the networking event, but you just walk right up to some person. Hey, do you mind if I join you? And you see a group of people there together. There's already a group. You don't have to form your own group. You just try to get into their group. And they're eventually going to get to talking to you. And you say, oh my gosh, you're in that business? I know somebody that's looking for that. And all of a sudden you're included. So instead of standing there by yourself trying to build a group, you try to get into a group that already exists and listen to what they have to say and interject when appropriate.
Great. You speak on networking.
Sure.
So if someone wants you to come speak to their group or to learn more about you, how can they get in touch with you? How can they connect with you?
They can reach me on
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. They can reach me on Facebook. Instagram too. Yeah.
So you're very active on your social channels.
Bryan with a Y and Weatherford. One man, two towns. Bryan and Weatherford.
One man,
two towns.
Two towns.
Is there a Chris, Texas? There should be.
Bryan, Texas.
And Weatherford, Texas.
I like that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We've endured technical challenges.
Got to fight through it.
We've overcome them. Check out Bryan on Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. He's going to be more active on LinkedIn.
And really active on Facebook.
Facebook. That's where he's at.
Check it out.
He's taken a little time off from his golf game.
A little bit, yeah. Which is probably a good thing because I can't tell you the last time I had a bad round of golf.
That's right. But if you want to take a group, you've got great group activities.
Oh yeah, the alley cats and putt putts that I was talking about, which is a big part of what I do. You got to check it out. And if you haven't been to putt putt in a while, you got to go because it's not the putt putt you remember. All the latest, greatest arcade games, all right here in Tanner County. And the two alley cats that we have, one in Arlington and our biggest putt putt in Hurst, which is off of 820, is being converted into an alley cat. So alley cats, in addition to the putt putt golf and the arcades and the batting cages, also has a full liquor license for our adult groups. We have 24 to 28 bowling lanes, 6,000 square foot indoor 2-story laser tag arena.
Cool.
Full service restaurant, everything. So check it out.
And what I love about that is how you guys have continued to evolve.
You got
Right.
to evolve, yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Oh my! Well, I graduated high school. I'll go ahead and say in 1976. I went to work for Putt Putt the summer of '76.
Wow.
When all that was a little Putt Putt golf course, and now it's evolved. But people, the number one question I get asked is when everybody started playing video games in their house with Xbox and all the games that you have, what did they quit coming to your place? Not at all. And the number one answer is because you can play Xbox at home, but you can't win tickets to go trade them in for prizes. So you evolve to where 85% of games at any arcade now, they're giving out tickets where you have a chance to win prizes. We're fortunate. Our owners are at the top of the charts of staying ahead of the latest craze in games. We actually have games where you can swipe your card. You don't have to use tokens. You can swipe your card, and if you do the right thing, you win an iPad right there on the spot. Boom, here's the iPad. Here, boom, you want to play games at home, guess what? You just won a $350 Xbox system.
Man.
See you. So it's always evolving and
Evolving.
continues to. Like we all need to.
Absolutely. Be there or be square. Right on. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.